88 coupe on D's and Bones, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Going live in a minute, Blizzard King. This is Winter, Dennis Spurling podcast. You are rocking with the realest black men represented. Ain't no lies, cause we winning. Catching flies, ain't no feelings. Uncle D, we the villain, baby. We just left the village, baby. Now we in them villas, baby. Dennis Spurling podcast, tuning in, we get it, baby. You can hate the player, hate the game. We love all you haters. Hate watch, hate watch. Calling lovely ladies, hands on your knees. You can thank us later. We snatching the crowns off of queens. We obliterate them. Tell the truth, shame the devil. They trying to eliminate us. You begging the sipping haters. Peeling layers off potatoes. Whoa. Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass. Dennis Spurling podcast. Whoa. Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass. Dennis Spurling podcast. Whoa.
We have to clean up what's going on in our house before we do anything else. What's up? Welcome, everybody. Shout out to my man, Glow Hardy. Big shout out to Black Wall Street. Big shout out to everybody in the chat room. Y'all hit the number one button, man. We going hard and heavy about this money. Somebody type money in the chat room, how to get the money, how to hold on to the money. In the United States, for the most part, man, this country is built on money. Everything you see is money. So it's not that you can't get the money. You see, the problem is holding on to it. And worse off, how do you make sure that your children don't squander everything that you have worked your whole life for? Like, unfortunately, like some of the black generations that came before us did. So we need to do better. Somebody type do better in the chat room. Nevertheless, my name is Dennis Spurling, also known as the Blizzard King, also known as Uncle D. Somebody type Uncle D in the chat room, baby. Uncle D in the chat room. Big shout out to Reverend Kevin Powell. Thank you so much, JJ Diesel, Cowboy Traveler 79, all my wrench mob. Let's get them wrenches a turning. Anyway, brothers, today we need to have a conversation, a real one, about what it truly means to be a high value man. Shout out to the person who made that term popular, the late great Kevin Samuels. High value man. Many of us chase the success, the money, the power, and we reach the top. Okay, but we overlook the one thing that can destroy everything we work for. That is the legacy we leave behind. Too many baby mamas, too many broken homes, and too many children growing up without their fathers. This is how high value men end up leaving low value legacies, right? So, we pride ourselves on being successful. But what's the point of being a successful man if there's no structure, no order, and no future for the next generation? It's not just about making six figures or being respected in the streets or the boardroom, for that matter. It's about who will carry your name, your values, your principles long after you're gone. And if we're not careful, we'll pass down money, but not the mindset, wealth, but not the wisdom, power, but not the purpose. Our legacy is the most important thing we'll ever build. And that starts with how we manage our family. If we scatter our seeds across too many households, we're going to create chaos, not a successful legacy. Our children need us present, not just financially, but emotionally and mentally, to guide them, to raise them to be the next generation of high value men and women that high value men would want to be with, who will come to elevate our community. So there's this dangerous misconception that's been creeping into our communities, society, and even many of our lovely ladies have been misled into reducing fatherhood down to one thing: being a provider. Somewhere along the way, people started believing that as long as a man pays his child support or foots the bill for a private school, he's done his job as a father. But let me tell you something. That couldn't be further from the truth. Fatherhood isn't just about cutting a check, it's about being present, being involved, and shaping the very lives of your children. Too many of us have been told that if we simply provide financially, we're fulfilling our role. And too many single mothers have bought into this misguided notion that father's only responsibility is to keep the money flowing. But what happens when the bills are paid, but the child has no guidance, no role model, no one to teach them what it means to be a man or a woman of principle and integrity? When we reduce fatherhood to a financial transaction, we rob our children of leadership and emotional support that they desperately need. We leave them to figure out life on their own without the benefit of our wisdom or our experience and our presence. And that, brothers, is how high value men end up with low value legacies. We have to take back the true definition of fatherhood. It's not just about providing financially, it's about providing emotionally. It's about providing spiritually and mentally. It's about being there every step of the way to ensure our children grow up with the values, the discipline, and the sense of responsibility that will allow them to carry on our legacy with pride and purpose. So today, my brothers, let's talk about what it really means to be a father, not just a provider, but a true leader in your home and your children's lives. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. Now, in order to do that, we have to delve into the ethos of what it truly means to be a high value man. Somebody type Kevin Samuels in the chat room. Somebody type the Godfather in the chat room. Let's keep his memory alive today. Somebody type high value man in the chat room. Let's not let all these people steal this man's terminology and all the meaning he put into it. Let's not let these outsiders steal his life work. Somebody type high value man in the chat room. Somebody type Kevin Samuels in the chat room. Okay. All right. And so we're going to be drawing upon his insights. Understanding this definition is critical as it shapes how we approach our roles, not just in society, but within our families. Defining high value man. Now, Kevin Samuels defined a high value man as someone who embodies success across facets of life. Shout out to my man Depressed 1177, the Godfather. Yeah, good looking out, fam. Thank you so much for being the first one to contribute to Super Chat. In addition, thank you for that shout out to KS. Now, this man, this high value man, isn't just successful in his career, earning a significant income, typically around $100,000 or more annually, but he also boasts a strong network of like-minded individuals. He carries himself with undeniable confidence and charisma and maintains excellent physical health. More importantly, a high value man is a provider with a clear sense of purpose and direction in his life. Now, Samuels profoundly addressed the concept of legacy, particularly in high value men and how he influences his children. He believed that creating a legacy involves more than amassing wealth. It includes raising children to be well prepared for their futures, instilling in them the values that will help them succeed. A high value man views his impact on his offspring and his contributions to the future generations as a vital aspect of his identity and life goals. So the role of a high value man is also child upbringing. For a high value man to leave a lasting positive impact through his offspring, there needs to be consistent involvement in their upbringing, and that's non-negotiable. And this commitment encompasses several key responsibilities. Number one, emotional support, because a high value man engages deeply with his children, fostering their self-esteem and resilience through genuine emotional support. The other thing, a high value man, he's a role model. He demonstrates core values such as integrity, hard work, and responsibility, traits that his children are likely to emulate. The other thing, education and guidance. He's actively involved in their educational journey, not only assisting with academic work, but also sparking curiosity and imparting crucial life lessons. Quality time. He understands the importance of spending meaningful time with his kids. You can't be a high value man if you're not out there building strong bonds and trying to form a foundation, uh, and helping your children develop especially as far as their emotion, especially as far as their emotional well-being. The other thing is he teaches his kids life skills, the same life skills that allowed him to become a high value man. And beyond academic knowledge, he teaches them practical skills and decision making and preparing them thoroughly for adulthood. Okay. So here's the thing. Um, we need to address this pivotal aspect of our legacy. Shout out to all the high value men out there. Shout out to all the Henrys. Shout out to all the Blue Henrys. Shout out to all you men who want to be successful. And so we've been talking about money a lot on this page. We've been talking about success because unfortunately, money is not the end all be all. It's not going to fix all your problems, but it definitely can mitigate the effect of your problems. Okay. And so we need to focus on that. Just like our ancestors were industrious, we need to focus on that. And so I hope that you men aspire to be high value men. And I hope you influence and educate your children. It's imperative to understand that the lessons that we impart and the example we set profoundly shape both our sons and daughters. And so what we have to do is we have to delve into the effect of having a high value man in the house has on his children. Now, the number one for your sons, shout out to all the dads out there and for all the young men who want to be fathers. And I hope you have the opportunity to be a father. But as a high value father, you have to understand that your actions speak louder than your words. Okay. If you call yourself a high value father and you're a crackhead, more likely than not, your son is going to dibble and dabble in the drugs. You understand? And so it's not just about what you say, it's what you do. So we demonstrate responsibility, discipline, work ethic, and resilience through for them to see it. We demonstrate that through our actions. Our sons watch and learn from us. They learn from us depending on how we face challenges and how we conduct ourselves in social and professional settings. They're watching. That's why no woman can ever teach a boy how to be a man, because only a man can teach a boy how to be a man, because a boy has to watch a man be a man. And that's how he learns. That's how he patterns himself after. The other thing is we teach our sons these values. We instill core principles such as integrity, respect, ambition. And this guidance is crucial as it helps our sons forge their own identities as high value men. What's the point of being a high value man if you got a bunch of weak suckers around you that have your last name? That's not cool. See, these values that we teach, they learn to uphold these values, not just at home, but as they navigate the wider world. We're responsible for teaching practical skills, financial literacy. You think these baby mamas are teaching their children financial literacy? Hmm? You think these baby mamas are teaching their children problem solving? What about effective communication? All these emotional young men around here, you think that they're learning effective communication? I'm just asking a question. You can be offended if you want to. But the truth is, you cannot learn to be a man if you have female coping mechanisms. And these type of skills that you learn from a high value man are essential for them to succeed independently in manhood. The other thing is, we encourage our sons to think critically and pursue their passions. We foster a sense of independence and confidence. And we prepare them to stand on their own 2 feet and face the world head on and carve out their own path. Look, It's always that dude with a dad. He's cool. That guy with the dad, you can tell the one who has a dad in his life. You can tell. You know who was there and who had dad, and you know who wasn't. Go down to a local basketball court or a football stadium. You can pretty much pick out the baby mama raised boys. See, here's another thing. We set standards. We teach our sons the importance of maintaining high personal and professional standards. We stress that true success is not just about achieving goals, but achieving them with honor and integrity. It's not about get the bag at all costs, fellas, because you can get the bag and end up locked away for 30 or 40 years. You got the bag, but you didn't get it the right way. Now, I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. Okay? Baby mamas, it was a lot of baby mamas back in the 1980s. There was a lot of mothers back in the 1980s and 90s that were benefiting from their sons selling dope. They were right there to get the cut of that blood money. They bought the Louis purses, the shades, all that stuff. There were women who benefited from that. And now they have sons who are either in jail, have jail records, or 6 feet deep. So by having a high value man, he sets standards. Now, for your daughters, and I know we got some girl dads out there. Shout out to all the girl dads. A high value man helps a young woman understand her worth. One of the most important roles is to affirm our daughters' intrinsic values. In doing this, we ensure that they grow up knowing their worth, which is foundational to their confidence and self-respect. It's a whole bunch of baby mama raised girls out there. Dad might have been contributing money to them, but you don't understand why she out there acting like a 304. And she come from a good household, so to speak. It's because she lacks confidence and true self-respect. Other thing is relationship standards. Through your actions, especially in how we treat their mother and the other women in their lives, we set an example of how respectful, high value man behaves. And this teaches our daughter, your daughter, what they should expect and accept in their own relationships. She's going to go get her a high value man, or at least she's going to know what to do when she gets around one. Hypergamy. Somebody who can spell good, type hypergamy in the chat room. Where my good spellers at? Okay. The other thing is, we actively support, you empower your daughters. When you actively support your daughters in pursuing their goals and their interests, you reinforce the belief that they can achieve success on their own terms. And this empowerment is crucial. She's your daughter. She might end up being a housewife, but she'll be confident enough to know that she can do it. The other thing is, dad is going to make these daughters communicate in a way that makes sense. They'll learn to express their needs and boundaries effectively without all the emotion. You've seen these houses filled with women, and it's just women. There's a lot of screaming and emotional and eye cutting going on in there. Some of these women grow up and they hate their mothers, and vice versa. And so by having a high value man in the house, there's a healthy interpersonal relationship, because he's going to shut that down. Somebody type shut down in the chat room. Here's another thing. Daddies make daughters take accountability. Somebody type accountability in the chat room. Daddy's girls typically take accountability. The other thing is critical thinking. Men encourage their daughters to think and evaluate things critically, from relationships to tasks that they have to do. And it makes them choose men who truly value and respect them. And that also ensures that she has a healthy, supportive relationship. Okay? Y'all still with me? Huh? Y'all still with me? Y'all bored? Let me know if you're bored. We got some people in there. Hit the number 1 button. Let me know. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. I'll be right back. Y'all hit the number 1 button.
Dennis Spurling podcast, click your mouse pad. Yeah, we out back. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Don't just hate watch, cause we outside. Let them hate watch, go and play pop. We just lay back. He don't play that. We don't play back. We don't play back. We go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. This is Dennis Spurling podcast. Don't just hate watch, hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate. Super chat, cash app. Put something in the collection plate. Church.
I want y'all to make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. And we're going to kind of get back to what we like to do over here, man. I need y'all to check in at a certain point when it's time to check in. I need to checking in to start happening again. We got to go ahead and get this algorithm pumping. All right, welcome back. If you are enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like this type of broadcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And of course, make sure you contribute to the super chat. We only got 1 super chat. We're trying to get 20. That'll be plenty. I'm going to be talking here for a while. And I want to make sure you guys like what I'm saying. Now, recently, there's been, and shout out to everybody in London. I know we got a lot of people overseas, and you may not know this person, but his name is Cam Newton. Somebody type Cam Newton in the chat room. Cam Newton is a former high-level NFL athlete. He played professional football some years back, and he was the quarterback, which is a very prominent position, the face of the franchise for a team called the Carolina Panthers. Now, this young man, and I call him young because he's, what is he, under 40 years old. He's never been married, but he has multiple children. And one young lady, he had children with a woman who is, I believe she had 4 or 5 kids for him or something like that, man. Shout out to my man, Urban Eagle. Good looking out, Urban Eagle. Thank you so much. All my guys who've been contributing for years, man, good looking out. So, the thing is, I don't think any of us would dispute the fact that he's a high value, successful, influential man. Okay. And he's respected in his profession. But here's the problem. Okay. And it doesn't matter if he's a football player or a regular player. It don't matter if he's a football player or a regular player, like some of y'all. If you fail to maintain direct and consistent interaction with your children, especially those born out of wedlock, okay, and shout out to my man, Steph Cam, especially those born out of wedlock and living in separate households, it's crucial to understand the repercussions of this detachment. And some of y'all, look, it's not about how many children you have. It's about how many different households they're spread out in. Okay. So what's the impact of this lack of direct interaction? The absence of a role model. As a high value man, our actions and decisions and principles serve as a live curriculum for our children. If we're absent, our children miss out on learning how to navigate life's complexities from us directly. See, this is not a book that you can read on how to operate in this world and rise to the highest heights. And by not being there with them to see, they're deprived of the firsthand experience of observing and emulating the qualities of a man who's already done it already. Here's another thing. Them baby mamas and inconsistent values. Children raised by different women, different caregivers, will absorb the values and norms of those in their environment. And that might starkly contrast with yours. And this can lead to a fundamental disconnect between the values that have shaped you as a high value man and what your children learn. And that's going to create confusion about principles they should adopt. I got that issue right now, man. You understand me? I'm a hardworking black man in America, and I got two boys that are emulating me because we see each other all the time. But then I got another son being raised in a tropical island by a former beauty queen whose value system is totally different than mine, and he lives in a household separate than mine. So I'm constantly having to infuse my values because I know what he's going to need. Her value system is going to be different than mine. Different experience, different location, different environment. And so I'm very concerned about that. And many of you are dealing with that too. Some of y'all can't even get along with your baby mamas. You barely see your kids, much less them having your values, especially since your baby mama spends all day, ex-wife spends all day talking bad about you, reducing you down to how much child support you can deliver. I know what I'm talking about. And so our children get our limited guidance in areas such as education, career choices, and personal development. All of that is pivotal. And without it, our children are going to lack the direction and mentorship and encouragement that would otherwise propel them to reach their full potential. These are your children. And they're going to miss out on the crucial insights that can help them navigate the path and make informed decisions. Another thing is the emotional toll of an absent father is profound. We know that. Somebody typed Chicago in the chat room. A bunch of baby mamas up there from generations past have raised these little boys and the little girls. And look at them. It's a bunch of children up there struggling with feelings of abandonment who've grown up. And it's led to long-term issues with trust and self-esteem. And these emotional scars hinder their ability to form stable, healthy relationships in life and generally just undermine everything about them. See, if you are not the primary influence of your children, they're going to adopt behavioral cues from others who do not share your high value traits. This exposure can drastically shape their perceptions of success, relationships, and self-worth, often to their detriment. And see, the problem is at the point where they're 14, 15, 16 years old, it's too late. You know, when you get that phone call and then that knock on the door, when she says, yeah, he needs to come live with you, it's too late. He's already formed his opinions and perceptions on life by being with her because she's been the primary caregiver. Am I preaching? Is this something you all have never heard before? Because y'all are too quiet in the chat room. If you know what I'm saying to be true, somebody type amen in the chat room, because I know I'm preaching to the choir because you all see this playing out all the time. Now, for your daughters, when they lack the consistent positive male role model, it's going to skew their perception of how they should be treated by men. For sons, the absence of a father figure is going to lead to a poor understanding of how to respect and treat women, and that's going to impact their relationship. And it's going to have a problem with them how they interact with men. They're not going to know how to deal with authority. Shout out to my man Lance Jackson. I know I'm telling y'all what y'all already know to be true. I'm just telling you in a different way. You may not have been able to articulate it, but I know I'm speaking to y'all. Y'all know what I'm saying is true. There's a scenario in the Black community where men have children with multiple women living separately, and that presents unique challenges to the impact and legacy we intend to leave behind. Now, Pookie and Ray Ray is going to do what Pookie and Ray Ray do. I'm talking to high value men. We got to do better. You can't do it, brothers. You might have 3 or 4 children that you raise, but it's that one child. It's that one child that's going to be off the chain, that's going to carry your name and drag your legacy through the mud. Your children are deprived of the chance to see you navigate life. They're deprived of the chance to see you make decisions and solve problems and interact in relationships. And without that consistent presence, they struggle to grasp the behaviors and values that define a high value man. Without your regular presence, your children, they're gonna miss out on learning how to deal with life's challenges and responsibilities from you. And because high value men are so rare, they're not gonna be able to get that anywhere else. They lack the mentorship to develop resilience and wisdom, which is necessary. Each one of the households that your different children are living in, they're going to have a diverse set of rules. They're going to have different values. And it's going to be influenced by that same baby mama that you didn't want to be with. That's who's influencing your children. And that's going to lead to conflict in their belief system, hesitation. Their behaviors are not going to be aligned with the values you want to instill in them. Basically, they're going to be getting a lot of mixed messages. And the disparity between what you talk about, what you preach, and what they experience daily is going to create confusion about what they should aspire to and how they should behave. Shout out to Hootsie. Amen. Praise Moses. Thank you for addressing this matter. Young men, protect your seeds. Plant them wisely and guard your yielded your crop. Yeah. Your kids are going to feel left out. They're going to feel less important if you're not consistently involved. And this emotional gap is going to lead to significant issues with trust and self-esteem. That's what's going to happen to your children that's outside in those other houses. You might live in a house with some of your children, but those other children are also part of your legacy. Fellas, if you don't have children right now, pick a woman to have children with and stay with her. I'm trying to tell you, okay? My experience has been so treacherous, I decided to wait till my other 2 children get grown before I even decided to have kids again, because I want them to be grown and gone. So there's no chance that I'm raising 2 sets of kids at 2 different times. I can focus 100% on the children that live in my house. Because, see, I understand that without your active involvement, your kids often question their worth, their very worth. And they have all sorts of crazy thoughts going through there. You know, kids have intrusive thoughts. Somebody type intrusive thoughts in the chat room. They're going to struggle with development, healthy self-esteem. Your son might be 12, 13 years old. He got hair growing out of one side of his arm and hair not growing out the other. He might think something wrong with him. You know, but you can say, son, that's normal development. For a young man, that's secondary male characteristics kicking in. That means your body's turning into a man. But you don't know what he's thinking. And he doesn't have you to sit there and talk to him about it. And that's critical for their overall emotional and psychological development, fam. So don't spread your seed too thin. Now, again, it's one thing to have multiple women and all the children live with you, because they're all being raised under one household. It's another thing if you, like Cam Newton, you got kids here, kids there, kids here, kids there. Again, those children are going to adopt the behavioral norms of the people in their immediate social environment. That uncle that has a lot of influence on your child, your baby mama's brother, those are the ones who are going to influence your children. And they may not have your high standards. See, the lack of strong parental influence means that they're more susceptible to negative peer pressure. We talking about cigarettes, premarital sex, talking about drug use. We're talking about searching out father figures in the street that's going to lead to gang banging. And see, if they live in a situation where negative behaviors are normalized in their surroundings, they might accept that as the standard. And that's going to divert them from the principles you hope they follow. That's what happens when you have kids in separate places. And again, this is for high value men who are concerned about their legacy. This is not for everybody. If this is not, you don't see a problem with it, oh well. But don't you want to repeat yourself? You're a millionaire, but your son lives under a bridge. That's a disappointment. You're a cop or a preacher and your son is a penitentiary occupant. That's not a good look. And see, not being present consistently limits your ability to influence anything about your child, especially their educational paths. You can't advocate for their academic needs. You're not there. Even basic practical life skills, they're best taught through consistent interactions. And they're not going to be adequately passed on if you got big gaps in the personal time in which you spend with your children. And what about your daughters? Your daughters might not develop a clear understanding of how they should expect to be treated in a relationship. If they don't have a strong, positive male role model, they think all these dudes are scummy. And let's say your son is living around his mother and she has some jerk for a boyfriend, a new baby daddy. He's going to pick up those habits. And that's going to send your son is potentially perpetuating a cycle of dysfunctional relationships. Look, there's also going to be a conflict in identity. Your children might feel torn between the different familial loyalties and values, which can create a fragmented self-identity. On one hand, you got a high-value man living a middle-class, upper-middle-class life. On the other hand, you got a baby mama raising her children, and all she's doing is collecting checks. So managing expectations from different family dynamics can be challenging, and they lead to internal conflicts about where they belong and who they are. Look, fam, I'm just trying to help you. We're serious about our legacies. We're serious about raising our children who will reflect our values and aspirations. We need to reconsider our approach on fatherhood. We can't just keep dropping our seeds everywhere in all these different households. We need to strive for involvement that goes beyond just sending a check. Financial provision to make sure the children are maintained. They need our guidance. They need our support. They need our values. They need to be able, they need that to succeed. And this is how we truly secure our legacies as Black men. And this is how we impact generations positively. And this is how we undo the generational curses that have been set forth before us. All right? We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back, man. Y'all show me some love. I'm the Blizzard King. Hit the note.
There you go. I like that clap. Woo! Not bad to be light skin, huh?
I'm gonna go ahead and give you a forewarning. This next section is gonna be triggering. Okay, this next discussion is gonna be triggering. We're gonna talk about these single mothers. We're gonna delve into an aspect of legacy. Shout out to my man Common Sense. We're going to delve into an aspect of the familial responsibility. And we need to understand the choices of the primary caregiver of our children, particularly when it involves women who choose to have children outside of wedlock. Somebody type baby mama in the chat room. I'm not here to just judge you. It's about recognizing patterns that can undermine the legacy that we strive to build. Somebody type baby mama in the chat room. Shout out to my man Hootsie. He says, please do not sign birth certificates without confirming paternity via DNA, expecting to protect your seeds. Somebody type baby mama in the chat room. You're not going to like this. We need to examine the decision-making process of a woman who decides to become a mother outside of the stability that marriage typically provides, especially if influenced primarily by the man's wealth. It indicates a lack of foresight. And this decision often overlooks the long-term implications for both her children, for both her and her children. It's a choice that can speak volumes about her value system and her ability to make decisions that extend beyond the immediate gratification of material gain. Somebody type, get the bag in the chat room. Your baby mama chose you because you had money. Your baby mama chose you because she saw that you were going to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, or you just got a contract, and she saw the money. So she decided to go ahead and have a child with you. What does that say about her? It says she has poor judgment. And this is who's raising your children. Now, this is going to be painful also. But we talk about painful things here. If a woman's decision to have a child is influenced by a man's financial status, what does that suggest? What does that suggest? It suggests her priority is material security over emotional and relational stability. That's what it says. She's transactional. Somebody type transactional in the chat. What's another word for transactional? Huh? What does that sound like to you when you can pay her for her time and her body? Not just to come in and come out, but you literally gonna put something up in her. What does that say about her? Huh? So you got a person with poor judgment who can easily be bought. This is who's raising your children. That indicates a lack of integrity. And this transactional perspective being passed down to your children, it's going to profoundly affect the psychological upbringing of the children involved. Now, look, I know somebody type baby mom in the chat room. I understand that this is offensive. I get it. But we have to address this baby mama issue. Okay? We got a bunch of transactional women raising a bunch of materialistic children. Now, if she's more focused on the think about this. If a child is raised in this environment, a transactional relationship with that child's mother is going to result in emotional neglect because she's in it for what? Financial provision is prioritized over emotional involvement. And kids grow up feeling emotionally disconnected from their mom and their parents and without consistent, listen to this, man. These women are having children. Do you think Cam Newton's baby mama would have had 5 kids with him or 4 back to back to back if he wasn't a multimillionaire? You think she did it because she loved him? Or you think she thought she was going to be on the next episode of NFL Wives or Basketball Wives or whatever? And when you have relationships built on financial agreements rather than mutual respect and emotional intimacy, conflicts are going to arise. They're more likely to arise. And that's what we see happening in the Black community. We at the point now, a lot of these Black men don't even like their mothers. And they don't like their mothers because their mothers didn't have that connection with them because they were in it for the money. And Lord knows if the baby daddy, the child's father, didn't pay any child support, as soon as he turned old enough to get out on his own, she put him out. It's a stressful environment. Transactional relationships in general tend to be less stable because they lack the deeper emotional connection that helps people through difficult times. And when the foundation of a relationship is financial rather than relational, it becomes vulnerable to external pressures. As soon as another man come along who can foot the bills, these children get put on the back burner. That leads to psychological challenges and damages. And this is the person raising your children, Mr. High Value Man. That woman that wanted you for your money that you scoped out and left alone. Now, what else does it say? And I know the baby mamas don't like this, but we need to examine your decision-making process. You got poor judgment. You opted for a transactional relationship. And then also, if you having children out of wedlock, if you opting into such an arrangement, that's going to reflect on your personal insecurities and perhaps a belief that you can't ensure a man a relationship with someone who values you beyond your ability to attract wealthy men. And this insecurity can perpetuate a cycle where relationships are viewed not as a mutually beneficial, but as opportunities for financial improvement. In other words, you look like a gold digger. You straight Kim Kardashian 2.0. Now, what's the impact on the kids? When children are brought into this dynamic, they face a unique set of challenges. They grow up in environments where the model relationship is just transactional. It's just based on money. Mom is more concerned about how much money she's getting. That's going to lead to confusion. Does she really love me? What's her true value to this commitment? Is there any love in this relationship? Or is mom just here for the money? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. And that's going to affect the stability of the family life. What else? Why is every decision based on money? Now, the other thing is this person responsible? Because remember, this is the person raising your children, Mr. High Value Man. It's everybody's right to make choices about their body and their life. That's in the rule books here in the United States. The decision to bring a child into the world, it carries immense responsibility. Choosing to do so in the less than ideal circumstances without considering the long-term effect on the child, that's not an oversight. That's a serious lapse of judgment. And over time, guess what happened? These decisions lead to regret, particularly if the relationship with the child's father does not evolve as expected, or if the financial support wanes. And the stability we all seek for our children is going to become a distant hope rather than a present reality. These are the women raising your children. These are the women that are raising your children in that household. Now, imagine if you got one baby mama and one kid, you might be able to do something about it. But what if you got multiple children in multiple different places? Your children are going to suffer. And those children are going to carry your legacy. See, when we discuss securing a legacy and fostering a value system within our progeny, it's crucial to consider the impact of these baby mamas and the values that they instill in our children. If the woman raising our children prioritizes material wealth over commitment to integrity and stability, this sets a foundational blueprint for what these kids might value themselves. What are they going to value? Come on now. Y'all know it's out there right now. What do black kids value right now? Materialism. Because they were raised in that environment where financial success is revered above all else. They come to believe that wealth is synonymous with happiness and insecurity. And this perception is going to drive them to prioritize money over relationships, personal growth, their own freedom, and their own lives. That's why they're out there getting the bag at all costs. That's why they're out there thotting it up. That's why we got a whole nation full of young girls who are susceptible to these modern day rappers who are passing on stripper values, 304 values. Who mad? Are y'all mad? You should be. I'm mad for you. So if you got a baby mama who values financial attributes in a relationship, that's going to lead to children with interpersonal connections or nothing. They see that as nothing but transactional. They're going to assess their women or their men based on their economic status. And we see women doing that all the time, rather than their character and emotional compatibility. Their homes are going to mimic the instability that they saw in their homes when they grow up, are going to mimic what they saw growing up themselves. And the children are going to they're going to struggle with trust, commitment. They're going to see relationships as unstable. And that's going to set the stage for difficulties. And what is lack of stability going to do for your grandchildren? At this point, your legacy is ruined. They compromise their self-worth. They have no role models worth having. They absolutely know nothing about conflict resolution. This is going to be your legacy, brothers. Materialism. These are the women raising your children. I mean, it's already bad enough. There's a disturbing trend everywhere we look about material success. It's lauded over character, educational achievement, and the mindset is plastered all over the media, glorifying wealth and possessions as the ultimate success. And these people will do anything to get it. Where'd it come from? Where'd it come from? They got it from their mamas, because that's who's been raising them. We teaching our young women to chase money at any expense. So you got a whole nation full of sugar babies. And now they just straight up 304s. It's a lot to deal with. Y'all still with me? Fellas, these patterns are crippling. They don't just limit the potential of an individual member of the community, but they erode the very fabric of our community. We're fostering an environment ripe for volatility, where quick gains are chased at the expense of long-term stability and genuine growth. It's time for a seismic shift in what we value. We need to prioritize education, career planning, and the restoration of stable family units. We need to cultivate relationship models built on respect, commitment, and mutual support. Look, brothers, if we can't do it, right? Who can? See, the children who are raised by high value men in a stable household, they're going to have a consistent role model on a daily basis, his daily presence. He's going to offer more supervision. He's going to have continuous live lessons on personal integrity, ambition, and resilience. And your children will then emulate you, your approach, your challenges, how you deal with challenges. Other thing is they're going to have that emotional and psychological support, stability at home. That creates a nurturing environment when you have stability. For healthy and healthy, this is your legacy. Nothing else matters. The other thing is your value system. A high value father who imparts values not through instruction alone, but through action. They're witnessing a committed relationship. And that's going to instill profound understanding of how a relationship dynamic should look. Now, contrast this with children raised, or should I say, children who are sired by a high value man, but they live with a baby mama, an unwed mother. They see their dad every now and then. Well, these intermittent visits, right? That's going to disrupt the consistency needed for an effective role modeling and leaving gaps in learning and personal development. An absent father figure, it leads to feelings of neglect. They love you, but they feel insecure. It's going to affect his self-esteem and his development. These kids are going to struggle with abandonment issues, and they won't even be able to form stable relationships. And of course, their value system is going to be shot. They're going to have a skewed value system. They're going to equate success with financial status without a father's guidance. Doesn't matter how much money you have if you're a scumbag. And if you got a high value man, those essential life skills that he can teach, you're not going to get them. So here's the thing. Let's look at this from a historical standpoint. And we've been in here for about an hour. And I know this is not the most exciting conversation, but you will remember this for the rest of your life. This is going to be some wisdom that you impart on others who come behind you. 40, 50 years from now, you're going to use this and you're going to talk about it. Now, I'm going to hit you in the side. I'm going to hit you upside the head. As you know, many of you know, I'm an attorney. And I remember when I was in Louisiana at the Southern University Law Center, the Louisiana legislator had just amended the Louisiana Civil Code. They replaced the term bastard, which was a legal term, with illegitimate heir. Okay? Somebody typed bastard in the chat room. Come on, it was a legal term. Somebody typed bastard in the chat room. It was a legal term, a lawful designation, a bastard. And historically, it was often illegal for children born out of wedlock to inherit, particularly with nobility. What does that mean? They didn't want the king's illegitimate sons that he created at the brothel to inherit any money. Why is that? Why? Well, the reasons behind that are deeply strategic and driven by the need to preserve power and maintain a clear, undiluted lineage. Somebody typed bastard in the chat room. See, just as the laws once protected the distribution of property and ensured that power remained within an established family line, today we have to be vigilant about how we establish and extend our legacies, ensuring that the children are born within the structured, recognized union, be it marriage or some other sort of committed relationship. You don't have to get the paperwork marriage, but are you living with your children? Because that also can serve the purpose to protect the integrity of the intended distribution of our wealth and our influence. Somebody type bastard in the chat room. See, back then, marriage conferred legitimacy on the offspring, and it reflected societal values about marriage and legitimacy. Now, in our times, while societal norms have evolved, the principle that a stable, committed relationship provides the best environment for raising heirs still holds true. I said heirs to the throne. It's about setting a standard and a baseline that aligns with your values and your societal expectations. See, the times have changed, but human beings have not. We are still the same human beings we always have been. Leaders of old were wary of heirs raised outside the elite circles. In other words, your bastard child. And they were concerned that they wouldn't share the right values and skills. They knew that rotten, raggedy baby mama of yours that you smashed after you drank a pint of ale in the whorehouse was not going to raise a child that we wanted in these elite circles. And today we face a similar challenge. And I know you don't like my language, but I'm keeping it 100 with you. Somebody type bastard in the chat room. It's a legal term in Louisiana. See, if we're not diligent, our children might not receive the upbringing that prepares them to manage wealth. We'll influence and sustain power. Do you think that this child who was raised by this ex-stripper that you decided to smash back in 2009 is going to be as fit to run your business and manage things as your child that you have that you had in 2012? So you need to nurture these children in the environments that reflect your achievements and aspirations. That baby mama's not going to do that. Somebody type bastard in the chat room. See, just as the nobility control their lineage and influence and resources, we must manage who will carry our names and our fortunes forward. And this is not merely about wealth. It's about instilling the capacity to handle the wealth responsibly and effectively. You can give some people $1 million and they'll be broke by the end of the year. Now, what was the rationale behind this? Why do we exclude bastards who were raised? Why do we do? What's the? I just look just like you. Why I can't get no money? Why my daddy didn't leave no money in the will for me? Historically, these laws maintain a clear separation between the classes, and they preserve the social order and the concentration of power. We're not going to empower no bastards. You understand? We not. That's what I'm talking about. What the royalty said. We're not about to get these bastards no power. We don't know what you was doing with your little man parts in the brothel. Okay, out in the field, you did what you did, but you can't bring that home. That's why women back in the day weren't really concerned about outside women, because whatever children they had, they weren't going to get any money. It was against the law. So in the modern context, while we strive for more egalitarian views on wealth and status, the underlying strategy is to prevent the dilution of our legacy through the dispersed family structures, which remains pertinent. Look, it's always been men who've dropped their seeds off in all these different places, but there's only one heir. Somebody type who mad in the chat room. I need 15 more super chats. Somebody type who mad in the chat. I'm giving you the reason. See, the rationale behind the historical practices of excluding illegitimate children serves as a powerful lesson for us here today. It underscores the importance of deliberate decisions about where and how we choose to plant the seeds of our legacy. And so you brothers need to be strategic. Let's be mindful. Let's ensure our legacies are secured in a way that they not only survive but thrive through the generations, just as the noble lineages did. See, look, the difference in upbringing between that child that you had with that chick that you met after the club that day and the woman that you got now. I hope you told your wife about your outside children. I hope you did. Because ladies, if you sitting next to your husband right now, I want you to look him dead in the side of his head. And if you see a little bead of sweat coming from the side of his temple down the front of his ear, then you know he got an outside kid. Okay? Because this is making them hot. They usually come over here and I'll be like, I'm nice to them. And, I talk and they did that. Yeah, that's right. You need to listen to Uncle D. But he speaks for men and you should listen to what he's saying. I deserve better. I know my worth. And now I get them on in here and I tell them about themselves. You've had that child and that child has a different upbringing and education and values than you have and that your other children have, your legitimate children, because you raised them. They basically was born to a commoner, as they would say in the old days. And then, and you may be noble. You're a high value man. You would be the equivalent of a noble. And you had a child by a commoner. And that reflects, or we can go into some detail. And if we want to go historically, back in the day, just like many of you fellas, your children go to private school. Back then, the nobles received a formal education from private tutors, and they went to prestigious schools. And they were taught subjects like literature, philosophy, history, mathematics, and sometimes multiple languages. These were the elite. They were prepared for leadership. Education for the children with money who were in the household, that included learning about government and law and politics, and they prepared them to take over. They also learned martial arts training, horseback riding, military tactics. And all of this was essential for defending their states. What about them commoners? Your little bastard child. They didn't have access to education. They over in the ghetto right now. Tell the truth. You might drop a few dollars off every now and then, but they can't do anything for that child support. You know what they get? They get the basics. They get reading, writing, and arithmetic at the most. And it's taught by the local schools, the public schools, right around their corner. They get taught more practical skills, stuff that's necessary for trades and agriculture. Some of them might go to college, but it doesn't really matter. You can go to college. Unless you come from a family of success and wealth, you're going to live a pretty average life. They get stuff that's going to directly contribute to their livelihood. They don't need to learn French. They need to learn how to fix a fence. Shout out to Alexis Vertus. He said, bastards. I need 14 more super chats. When you are raised by a high value man, just like when you were raised by a noble, your values are different. When you got money, your upbringing stresses values such as honor, duty, loyalty. And these were as paramount for maintaining the social standing and responsibilities. They were taught to manage the property, the estates. You can't turn your house over to your bastard son. He grew up in an apartment with the baby mama. He doesn't know how to run a business. He doesn't know how to oversee the workers. He can't fulfill these administrative duties. He didn't have a sense of responsibility instilled in him from a young age. My sons had my job working all summer. They know how to manage an office, 14, 17 years old. Now, people who are regular, you know what they instill in their children? They don't instill leadership and responsibility. They instill work ethic and survival. Tell the truth. You living over in the hood somewhere, your value system is centered around hard work, community, and family. That's what you teach. That's what we teach poor people. We don't teach them how to rule and lead. We teach them you should value hard work, community, and family, because I want your ass out there working hard for me while I'm at the golf course on my private plane. That's what we teach them. We teach do for the community, don't we? Give back to the community. You giving little crumbs you got back to the community, and the millionaires or billionaires are sitting up there in planes. And they teach you family. Yeah, stick to your family. Y'all stick together. All y'all stay together. And the emphasis is on survival and supporting the family unit. So if one go down, you got to contribute your money to bring him up. That's what we teach. You know what else we teach them? We teach them religious values. That's what we teach poor people. Their value system is deeply tied to religious teachings. And you get that from the church, and the church is free. That's where you get your broader philosophical and ethical education from. They don't teach you about leadership and world management and bank management. They teach you to work hard and focus on the afterlife where you'll get your reward. But I'm up here in my private jet, and you're going to get rich after this is all over with, in heaven, after you die. That's what we teach poor people. The commoners learn that. The nobles learn world management and state management. What else? I'm grooming my sons, my two older sons, for leadership. And they've been groomed from a young age. Just like noble children were groomed to take over the family estate, the family business, political positions. My sons help with my office, just like these nobles' children. You can see them participating in the King's Court and other political affairs. These high-value men and their children were taught the intricacies of social etiquette, diplomacy, how to talk to people, how to conduct themselves around power, how to court power. Somebody type court power in the chat room, because that's crucial for governance. You know what we teach poor people? You know the same thing they taught the commoners? Children typically learn to work. Somebody type work in the chat room. You know, you need a job. You need a job. You need to get a job. Helping the family with farming and crafts and trade skills. That's why you got that job at McDonald's back in 2012. You need to get a job and pay these bills and support the family. That's how poor people are raised. That's how your baby mama raised you. They told you the social interaction, that's with the community. It revolved around your little city life. Some of y'all claiming sets, claiming your city, my city. Meanwhile, you got the person who the city is named after on a jet somewhere in the Riviera. Compton, Inglewood, Atlanta, Harlem. They over there in England somewhere. Over in the south of France. You fighting over a city that their ancestor developed and is still extracting resources from. Meanwhile, they're in a whole nother place. That's what they teach you. Focus on the community. You still got black people right now saying, yeah, y'all need to come to the community and help out. Whereas on the other hand, you got these high value men saying, hell with the community. I'm going to be on this airplane with this passport somewhere else because their value system has changed. I know y'all don't like it. I don't care. But that's what happens when you let, and I'm going to use the term, commoners raise your children who should be raised by their noble father. That's what happened when you let your baby mama raise your child as a high value man. Now let's look at what happened to black families in the 1950s to the present. It reflects a broader social, economic, and cultural change. Let's focus on the implications of children born out of wedlock, including those for high value fathers. In the 1950s, black families in America were the most among the most married demographics. And this period was characterized by a strong sense of community and family unity, which was partly a response to the adversities faced under segregation and racial discrimination. Marriage rates were high, and the family structure were often traditional, with a significant emphasis on the collective upbringing of children. So guess what? This was a breeding ground for high-value men. Look at all of the great men who came before us. Your Thurgood Marshalls, Willie Browns. What was the name of that mayor? What are the name of those mayors you talked to me earlier? Anyway, I was trying to get a lifeline in. The mayor of LA, the mayor of San Francisco, all these black men who were successful, they came from these people who were married. Yeah, dad might have been a porter. Dad might have been a porter, but the son ended up being a mayor and a lawyer. These were breeding grounds for high value men. Mark Morial, right? Willie Brown. All these great men. Shout out to Ray Alexander. Top tier men marry beautiful, intelligent women. Accomplished men want smart children, take over their business and financial legacy. And look, bro, it ain't always about beauty, man. I told y'all these chubby chicks, I said, look, if she's keeping a stable home, man, you can build something with her. Even if she's not the most aesthetically beautiful, it's other qualities that you need to look past. Okay? I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Maynard Jackson, Harold Washington, right? Andrew Young. All of these men came from these stable families. See, the economic and social policies meant to keep black folks segregated, right? Inadvertently created environments where black families lived in close-knit communities that provided mutual support. And this included shared responsibilities in child rearing and community involvement. We need 13 more super chats. Now, what happened when we get the rise of out of wedlock birth rates? Do you know that 70% of black children are born out of wedlock now? 70%. So over the decades, the black community has experienced a lot of change. 70%. Now, you can blame the industrial and economic shifts. It led to loss of stability, not a lot of well-paying jobs. But remember, the men that came before us were porters. A porter is somebody who works on the train, basically a flight attendant for a train. They didn't have good jobs, but they came together and did what they had to do. So I don't really accept that, but they do. Now, one thing that has played a part is the war on drugs, really the drugs that they dropped in the black community. And the incarceration rate rose because they targeted black men in the black community, and that led to high incarceration rates because of the crimes. Joe Biden, and that depleted the pool of men for a time. Things are different now. The other thing is this sexual revolution. I can bang whoever I want to bang. Right? Now, you got kids, they receive the financial support, but they don't get the daily presence of their dad. They get fragmented role modeling. They see him on the weekend. Somebody type weekend dad in the chat room. There's an emotional distance. Look at this man, Barack Obama, our former president. He's a prime example. Now, his dad was technically a high-value father, and he ended up being a high-value man, but he also ended up snorting cocaine. He was primarily raised by his mother and his grandparents. And his daddy was a Harvard educated economist, but he was absent. And Obama often discussed how this affected him, and that highlights the importance of a dad being present. Look, Barack Obama, look, he's a former president. Give him his love for that. But his absent father significantly shaped his views on fatherhood and personal development. And Obama often spoke openly about the impact of growing up without a father. Shout out to Elliot Miller, one of the best channels on YouTube. 12 more super chats. I need 12 more. Obama said he struggled with his identity. He struggled with issues related to identity, belonging, which was common in children, number one, who needed their father, and also who were of mixed race. So that complicated the issue. His struggles made things more pronounced as he was trying to navigate what it meant to be a black man in America, but he didn't have a black man in America to teach him how to do it. So he struggled. Somebody typed cocaine in the chat room. He didn't have a black daddy. Cocaine. It's a hell of a drug, apparently. In his memoirs and speeches, he talks about feelings of abandonment. And this emotional void left him questioning why his father chose to remain distant and largely uninvolved in his life. Think about that. Now, without his daddy in his life, he said he looked for other male role models. Somebody type rainbow in the chat room. He looked to them for guidance and mentorship. Somebody type rainbow in the chat room. And this search influences choices and actions, pushing him toward, community service eventually, and then political involvement eventually, but not before the rainbow and the cocaine. He felt he could make a difference. Now, it's said that it prioritized growing up without a father, made him prioritize his family life and ensuring he was present and engaged father for his daughters. And he often spoke about the importance of being there for his children and milestones in everyday life, and contrasting sharply with his own upbringing. So what does that mean? That means there's hope for you. Okay? Even if you didn't have a dad, it's hope for you brothers who grew up without pops. But see, the things that black men and families are dealing with today are multifaceted. We can't not look at the historical legacies and the ongoing social disparities. It's benefits in having a high value man if you can get next to one. And these benefits extend beyond the material provision and emotional support, right? It's life skills, it's value transmission. Look, all you women out there listening to this, if you see this, look. You need that man for more than his money. You need him to help raise those children. Otherwise, you're sitting on ticking time bombs. Okay? A high value man is going to help you bring your children up in a stable, controlled environment. You like that man for a reason. If you let him be with his children, there's going to be a consistency in value transmission. You want your children to be high value. You want your sons to be high value men, right? You want your daughters to have a high value man. Yeah. Here's another one. You got to also consider the legal protections that marriage affords concerning financial assets. You want to make sure your children have undisputed rights to your resources. If you got a whole bunch of kids in all these different places, it's going to be a fight. The lawyers are going to get the money. You setting up trusts and wills. It's a lot easier if you don't have a dispute after you pass away. We talk about legacy here. Now, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come right back. We need 12 more super chats. That'll be great, but we only got 8. Y'all give me 12, and that'll be swell. But either way, we'll be right back. Y'all hit the number 1 button. Y'all make sure y'all show Uncle D some love by subscribing to the channel. I shall return shortly. Have pride in yourself. Don't be so hard on yourselves. That's the other thing. Don't let this world keep kicking you and making you feel like you're not good enough. You plenty. I don't care if you're 10 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, 30 pounds underweight. You don't make enough money. You make too much money. You're too tall. You're too short. You're perfect the way you are. And I want you brothers to begin to take that. A lot of you guys did not have father figures to reinforce these things in you. You don't have that manly fatherly love supporting you in the back of your head saying, son, you can go out there. The world is yours. I'm not your father's, but I love you like I'm your own uncle. We all want people. And so I'm telling you, brothers, I love you as a person that most people would say is successful. I'm telling you, the opportunity is out there. And most of you guys are doing much better than I was at your age. You're more confident. You got the world, you got the benefit of people like me who've made mistakes. And I want to see you ball. That's it. Yeah, I want to see you ball. Yeah, somebody type ball in the chat room. I want to see your ball. So check this out, man. It's some main points that we went over in this. And I know this is hard to listen to because some of you all have children outside of wedlock. I do too. Okay. I made that mistake. Of course, I love my child, but he's going to have a different value system. It's not anything I control. Fighting like hell in court. Been doing it for 9 years. Been fighting for my other sons for 14 years. To get control of my children and get them in my household, okay? Because I want them to have my value system, all right? And that's why I'm spending the money now, so they don't have to bear that burden. Now, here's the thing. We need 11 more super chats, but I got 10 points that I want to discuss with you all. First of all, we often talk about this high-value man concept, and Kevin Samuels defined it as someone who has achieved success in various areas of life, career, physical health, networking. He makes a significant amount of money, over $100,000 a year for the 6 years prior. And, Kevin often he emphasized leadership and responsibility and a sense of purpose. But see, here's the thing that we often miss. And all these people who've been stealing his talking points, they don't focus. They focus more on the wealth. But you want to create a legacy by actively shaping your children's future. And this includes being a role model, emotionally supporting them, and basically teaching them life skills. And see, fathers who have children with multiple partners, you got a child. If you out here, Cam, what's that other boy's name that used to play on that comedy show? What's his name? Nick. What's his name? What's his name? I think his name. Oh God, it'll come to me in a minute. You got Nick Cannon. That's his name. Nick Cannon and Cam Newton. I mean, between them, they have a whole village of children. They cannot possibly be instilling their values that got them to the point where they are in life in all of those children. It's just physically impossible because they can't be in 10 places at the same time. Okay? They can't be in 10 places at the same time. If you got children spread all across the city, this state and that state, fellas, it's just physically impossible for you to do that. You see? And the thing is, you risk negatively affecting your children's development in that regard because there's a lack of modeling, conflicting values. You got that baby mama raising your kids. There's a lack of emotional support. And that's going to lead to long-term issues. Your kid's going to end up in therapy. You understand? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with therapy. I'm just saying they're going to suffer. And as a high-value man, you want to be conscious of that. I need one more super chat to get to 10. Somebody do that for me. Now, the other thing is it's important to raise them in stable households, stable house. Raising children in a stable two-parent household, whether the parents are married or whether they just have a long-term committed relationship. I know how it is. You don't want to go down there to the courthouse and get that paperwork because there's a lot of issues to go along with that. But Cam Newton, he could have just stayed with the woman he was with, but he decided to go out and have an outside baby with another woman, and then his main chick with the 5 kids left him. You see? So you got to have some discipline here. Shout out to Elliot Miller. Good looking out, man. Thank you for helping me get 10. That's a win. We'd like to get 20. That'll be plenty. Okay. So let's try a quick 10 before we end. Hallelujah. Praise God. Praise Moses. Now, the other thing is he's going to be influenced. Your children are going to be influenced by the values of their primary caregiver. And that's going to significantly shape the children's character. If the mom prioritizes material wealth over stability and commitment, right, the children are going to adopt those materialistic values. And that's going to mean they're going to have a lot of unstable relationships. These get the bag women are raising your kids. Now, I talked also about historically how children born outside of marriage were often excluded from inheriting family wealth. And the principle highlights the importance of strategic family planning to ensure that the wealth and legacy are preserved and passed down properly, because we don't want anybody to inherit it. They're not going to empower somebody who doesn't have the same value system, because those kids are just going to squander it. That's why only the nobles' children who were noble and legitimate were able to inherit. This was the law, and this is a well thought out law. It existed like this for centuries. It is the way it is. In some places, it's the same way right now. Okay. See, historically, children born outside of wedlock didn't have the rights that the children who were legitimate had. And they did that for a reason. Now, increasing materialism, unstable family structures in the Black community contribute to a transactional relationship where financial security takes precedence over emotional stability. She don't need to see you. She just needs to see that child support check. But that's not helping your kids. See, a high value man's absence from his children's daily life, that's going to create educational and developmental gaps. And it's depriving the children of these critical skills and guidance necessary for their success, because you are the successful one. That's why your baby mama was with you. She's in it for the money. We've established that. Now, whether you want to do marriage or whether you want to do a long-term relationship, it's helpful to create that stability financially. It's easier to ensure wealth and preserve your property. All right. Again, high value men are not just about making 6 figures in connection. It's your legacy. Legacy, legacy, legacy. And that involves making thoughtful choices regarding who you are impregnating and ensuring that the transmission of your wealth and your growth are consistent. I want y'all to hear me. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read these super chats, because I appreciate these people who came through extra savage for me today. Shout out to my man, Elliot Miller. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Big shout out to Ball In, Alex Vertis. Good looking out, brother. Elliot Miller, again, one of the best channels on YouTube. Thank you so much, brother. All praises to the Most High. Top tier men marry beautiful, intelligent women. Accomplished men want smart children to take over their business and financial legacies. They do marry beautiful, intelligent women, but they also marry cooperative, fit, feminine women who will help maintain the household. Let's not just focus on beauty and intelligence. She could be evil and also beautiful. She can be low down, dirty, and criminal minded and intelligent. So let's focus on cooperative and a woman of good character. She doesn't always have to be a 9 or 10. Man, get you a woman that's going to help you build an empire, or at least not get in the way. We talked about that recently. Just something to think about, fam. Who else we got up in? Please don't sign birth certificates without confirmation. Confirm paternity via DNA test. That's a good answer. I agree with that. Husia, amen. Praise Moses. Thank you for addressing this matter. Young men, protect your seed. Plant them wisely. Guard your yielded crop. Praise God. That's true too. Lance Jackson, thank you so much, fam. 1999. Urban Eagle, good looking out. And The Godfather. Yeah. Now we would have got 20 but we didn't get that. That's all right. I'm going to just thank you guys who did contribute to the super chat. Good looking out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, here's the thing. And shout out to everybody who came through. I appreciate you guys. I love y'all. But brothers, we need to, I'm gonna leave you with this. Being a high value man isn't just about money in your pocket. It's not about the power you hold. It's it's not even about the influence you command and wherever you are. It's about your legacy. It's about what you leave behind. A high value man, a man who has wealth, has wanted wealth, who's attained. A high value man with a low value legacy, born out of chaos and irresponsibility, you're going to ultimately fall short of the greatness you aspire to. Too many of us men of potential with ambition find ourselves scattered across different households, leaving behind broken homes and children who are disconnected from our family value. Woo! Good looking out, Joe Martin. My man, Joe Martin. That's my guy. Close out, but I had to give a shout out. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Good looking out. You made me lose my train of thought. But anyway, like I was saying, okay, we don't want to leave all these broken homes, man. We need to understand that being a father is more than just paying child support or showing up every other weekend. It's about being present mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. If you're not there to guide your children, to be their first teacher, their first role model, you leave them to the world. You leave them to the wolves. You leave them to the influences of others who don't share your vision. The same people you manage to avoid, they're gonna be right there to get your children. Your kids are not gonna have your ambitions or your values, and that's how we create a low value legacy. Somebody type low value legacy in the chat room. Low value legacy, and that's not what we want. That's not what I want for you. And you get a low value legacy despite all your high value efforts. Not cool. Our children, our legacy, they need more than just financial support. I don't care what these baby mamas say. They need our wisdom. They need our discipline and our presence. And if we can continue to spread ourselves too thin, chasing more baby mamas, then we can, it's not going to turn out well. You can't properly nurture all those children. You risk losing control of the very empire you're trying to build. You risk passing down wealth without the mindset and the morals to sustain it. And that, my brothers, is a recipe for ruin. So here's the thing. We don't have those laws back like they had back in the day where bastards didn't inherit, where children born out of wedlock didn't inherit. That same knucklehead that was raised by that chick that you dealt with and you shouldn't have is going to get your wealth and squander it. A high value man must have a high value family structure to carry on his legacy. And this means choosing wisely, limiting the chaos, and being intentional about who you create life with and how we guide those lives into the future. It's time to rise up and take full responsibility for our legacy, brothers. A legacy built on strength, order, and foundation of values that can be carried on for generations. So I challenge you, don't let your actions today create a low value legacy tomorrow. Step into the fullness of your potential. Be the fathers our communities need, and ensure your legacy is one of power, of purpose, and high value, both in wealth and character. The world is watching you, black man. And more importantly, your black children are watching you also. And I want to see you do better by them and by yourself. Nevertheless, this is Uncle D. Shout out to everybody who came through. And as I always said this time, I'm out.
Dennis Spurling Podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.